Hello everybody and welcome to the 5.7 tier list update. It's going to be a big one this time. We have over 15 changes to the tier list today. It's going to be, as I said, quite large, quite significant. Just as a heads up, the 5.8 tier list update, usually do these on Sundays, but of course I'm going to be at the Master LAN on that Sunday, so that one is going to be done on the Tuesday following, which will be Tuesday the 15th. So if you're wondering where that one's going to be, why it's not been uploaded on the Sunday as it usually is, that's the reason. And if you're wondering why I haven't streamed it then, it's going to be streamed, might be at the same time, might be a bit earlier, might be a bit later, I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see when we get to that date. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and look at this tier list. As per usual, we're starting with the bottom and going our way down. And just as a prefix to everybody out there watching on YouTube, this is a competitive tier list for, well, high-end competition. We're talking SPL and high-level minor league play, both in Europe and North America, mainly focused on the European side, although there will be some North American influence. For example, the fact that they're using double hunter meta will go into some decisions this week. So, I'm going to start off in S plus tier. One change coming out of this, and that's going to be Nemesis, going to be moving down to the S tier. Lost a tiny bit of a control with some of the nerfs coming in. No longer a top pick, top ban like Janus and Toth is still being. Toth less so, but Janus is definitely the pinnacle of top pick, top ban right now. Did receive some nerfs, did Janus. We're going to see where that puts him afterwards in the next tier list update, but for now, he's staying in S+. Toth is still pretty much rocking 100% pick ban rate, so he's going to be staying in S+ as well. Nemesis, slightly fallen off. On to S, and this is where we're going to have 4 changes. The first one is Osiris, going to be moving down to S-. Hasn't had the pick rate to justify his S status for a long time, even though his kit really suggests that he should be at that S stage. He's fantastic at zoning out the mages, brings damage reduction to teamfights, which is massive in a teamfighting meta that we're in right now. He just isn't picked though. It's because you have your Guardian solos really taking over the solo lane, and he can't bully out those Guardian solo lanes like he does other warriors. So that's why he's going to move down to S-. He still has some picks every now and then. He's still doing, well, I need to mute those, my apologies, but thank you for the follow. When he does get play, he does extremely well, which is why he's only moved down 1 tier. If it was played every now and then and didn't have much success, we're moving down to A+ or even A. Next up, it's gonna be Nuwa. Moving down to A+. Soul Gem got nerfed, so she indirectly got nerfed. Still fantastic, but as I said, it's a teamfight meta, and in teamfights outside of her ultimate, she doesn't really bring that much. She's more of a gimmicky character, and you've seen the problems with her. Game 2 of Rival vs. Energy in the final week. They had Energy had a composition which surrounded around teamfights in the Odin Cage, and they had a Nuwa mid, and Nuwa provided 0 follow-up to the Odin Cage. It just made the cage 100% less effective because they had a Nuwa in the mid lane rather than somebody like a Poseidon or a Ra or an Agni. Someone that could really focus their abilities into that small area. Doesn't matter if you're trapped in the cage or you're still running around freely in mid lane, Nuwa is going to do pretty much the exact same thing that she does before. So, he's going to move down. More importantly, though, is the fact that gods like Agni, Toth, Janus, Ra, they're starting to be prioritized over the Nuwa. So that's why also she's going to be moving down a bit further. Ulla is going to be the next one on the list, going down to A+ as well. Few reasons for this. Biggest one is going to be the fact that Devourer's Gauntlets are coming back into the meta. Ulla's a god that doesn't really synergize too well with Devourer's Gauntlets. He can build it, and will still build it if picked up, but he really wants to go into that Transcendence build, really look for the power, look for the damage on his abilities. And with Devourer's Gauntlets being built up on most ADCs, and the ADCs facing him, they're going to sustain through his bullshit. And that means he no longer gets as much lane dominance that he used to. And that's what you pick Ulla for in competitive scene, is you pick him to dominate the lane, you pick him to win that lane, put the enemy ADC a couple levels behind, and then rotate and make it a 5 vs 4, 6 vs 4, depending on how far ahead you are. And the nerfs did hurt him slightly. In terms of his overall burst ability and overall pressure in lane, the nerfs factor into that. Yes, it's only a bit of scaling, a bit of power loss, but when you're building into a Transcendence and really need to kill people 100-0 with your combo, and they're even in a sustaining up through demos through basic attacks, that small bit of burst and a small bit of power loss can make the difference. And for Ulla, it's starting to push him out. Hachiman is going to move down to S-, simply due to the fact he's not picked up as often as other ADCs. Still very strong, synergizes well with Devos, still has good lane pressure, so he's still going to be staying around the top echelons of the tier list. S-, and this is where a lot of people are going to be saying, thank fuck, this guy's finally moving down. It's Cabrakan. Going to be moving down all the way to A tier. I can actually put him in A tier. There we go. No presence and picks and bans. Similar case to the Osiris, his kit suggests that he should be good in this meta, but unlike Osiris, he just isn't picked up at all. He was only banned once throughout the entire 6 weeks of competition, if I remember correctly, and that was against Mouse Sports, again, if I remember correctly. There might have been a couple more bans in North America, but I honestly couldn't find them. Rapidly moving down to A. I think once teams start to figure out Cabrakan's utility and playstyle again, he's going to be moving back up straight away, but for now, going to be moving down to their A slot. Rama, going to be moving back up to S. Barret's Gauntlets, check. Crit, check. They're both in the meta. Rama's one of the top hunters in the meta. Crit isn't the entirety of the meta. It's not all 100% crit. You can go into attack speed builds with kin size, and Rama still synergizes with those extremely well. Very safe in team fights, can affect them from long distance, only has to make halfway rotations between lanes if he wants to influence mid fights. We're starting to see a lot more mid fights. We're starting to see a lot more ADC fights over in the dual lane as well. And Rama can bait out those fights for a bit longer than most ADCs, can wait for those rotations, and just means that he's a lot more difficult to deal with, a lot more difficult to kill. That's why you're seeing him a lot in this meta. Sylvanus, going to move down to A+. The tree's getting cut down to size. Big things what you pick Sylvanus for are his pressure in the early game, and his sustain in the early game. He's providing a fair bit of sustain, sure, but you're getting that from other characters you pick. You're getting that from Terra, you're getting that from Ra, you're getting that from Isis slightly. And if you're drafting towards a burst meta, the sustain isn't really going to help you that much outside of maybe protections from Lotus Crown. Sylvanus can't really build into Lotus Crown because he just gets picked off too much. He needs to build into those defensive, tanky items early on. Delays Lotus Crown till later, at which point it's probably useless. Because, well, you're either winning the fights too much for it to matter, or you're losing them too much for it to matter. I'd say about 1 in 8 games you're going to see a Sylvanus where Lotus Crown could make the difference. But just not happening. If you really wanted to build somebody to get AoE protections, Ares is there. You could do the same thing with Terra. He's just lacking a bit of an identity right now. His identity was there to win the lane early, to get the pressure, get the ADC ahead, and let them carry out through the mid and late game. A couple of things have contributed to the fact that that's not happening anymore. Big one is warrior supports. Gods like Achilles are starting to come into the support role and dominate the lanes themselves. So, what's the point of picking Sylvanus if you could just pick Achilles, if you could just pick Terra, and do the same thing as Sylvanus does, but better, and then be more impactful in those late game teamfights. The big thing going for Sylvanus, though, and the big plus that you will put against him, is the fact that he has one of the best teamfight ultimates in the game, Ratha Terra. Blink into a 3-4-man knockup, and that's probably winning the teamfight because you can't beat when you're in the air. Well, you can, but you can't do anything with those beats, apart from maybe Aegis. Ra is going to be going up to S. Really starting to be a force in picks and bans. Not across the entirety of the SPL, though. Across the entirety of the SPL, he is somewhere in between S+ and S-, which is why he's an S. It's depending on who you're facing. If you're facing Rival, he's one of the must bans. If you're facing Pre-Prime as well on Obey, he's probably going to be a high priority. We're starting to see him picked and banned a fair bit in Europe. Less so in North America, but that's mainly due to the fact that there is a duo hunter meta going on right now, which I don't personally agree with. I think mages are the best class in the game. And to forego a mage to get a secondary hunter is just... It baffles my mind. But we'll have to see at Masters whether the double hunters will come out on top or whether the mages will shine bright. But now, Ra and his sustain and his bullshit low cooldown ultimate are going to stay at the S tier. Could even move up to S plus if the conditioning is right. Terra, all the way to S plus. Her new kit is fucking broken. I thought that there would be good counters to it. I thought that teams are going to go, oh, we're going to pick up Cursed Donk, and the second she pops her ult, the entire team's taking 20% more damage. Well, it doesn't matter if you're fucking dead, because Terra ult does damage now, and gives you amplified, and makes you take amplified damage. Doesn't matter the fact that Terra can solo you as a support, building with support items, because her ult is fucking dumb. Doesn't matter that Lotus Crown will last 15 seconds, 20, maybe even 20 seconds, on her allies and on herself, because her kit is so fucking dumb. She needs nerfing. She's controlling picks and bans far too much. She would very well be an SS character if it wasn't for the fact that we have seen her played, we have seen her just not win the game by herself. She very nearly is an SS character at this rate. And if she doesn't get nerfed after Masters, or during the 5.8 patch notes, which is going to be during Masters, I'm going to be fucking livid. Final change from the S- is going to be Achilles. He's going to be moving up to S. A lot of people may be going, whoa, what do you mean just S? He's S+, isn't he? Big problem with Achilles is his late game. See, during the early game, he is an S+ character. During the early game, he is almost a must-have on any team. You can put him pretty much anywhere, as we've seen. But in the late game, he just isn't as impactful as other characters. You really have to build him into a damage character, which puts him into the jungle only. You can't really build him damage in the solo lane. Could potentially put him in mid, but as we saw, it didn't really do too well, because he has to get close range to do his abilities, and you want your mid laner to be somewhat distant from the fight. And if he's in support, again, you're not building damage, you have to build that real defensive tank-style build. We did see Cyclones play him in ADC, and what's more, that means Achilles has been played in every single position in the SPL. First god to do so. Absolutely unreal. He's only been out in SPL competitive play for about, what, 3 weeks now? Already been played in every single position? God's nuts. Just his late game is lackluster at best. Which is why he is not S+. A+, gonna be no changes, surprisingly. Every god in A+, I feel, deserves the A+ status, is gonna stay there. A couple of gods I was debating about moving, though, just for interest, was Naja, Vulcan, and Cernunnos and Apollo. Those are the 4 gods I was really debating whether to move up or down, not gonna say which way. Most of them are down. But I feel like certain picks and certain compositions have done well with them, so they're going to stay in A+ for now. Cernunnos is the biggest one that's potentially going to get a move next tier list update. Onto the A tier, we have 5 changes coming into this tier. I told you it was going to be a big update to the tier list this week. Daji! A lot of people screamed and shook their heads in disbelief when I moved her to A. At the time, I felt it was the right decision. I felt like she wasn't bringing as much control, she wasn't really having her identity again as that blink in, instantly kill you before you can do anything about it, then get out again assassin like Sir Ket was a while back. Still doing her same bullshit, still controlling picks and bans, still being preferred over quite a few assassins. I predicted it wrong. I'm gonna hold my hands up and say, I was wrong about Daji. Moving all the way back up to S-. Bear in mind, she did get nerfed as well, but I still think she's performing well enough when picked to justify an S- status. She is being overlooked in a few games, but most of the time she is being picked up. She's still having her insane control because of the parallel, still very difficult to deal with because of the parallel. That ultimate really could do with some adjustments, I feel, if we're going to properly nerf and properly fix Daji. But outside of the ultimate, she isn't as strong as other assassins, I feel. I feel like if you're going to be taking away her ultimate, you're going to be looking at possibly picking Sir Ket, you're going to be possibly picking Nemesis over her. The ultimate's really dumb. Provides too much control. for a character that's there to blow up a single person. Artemis. Going to be moving up to S- as well. It's almost become a must-pick for some teams out there. A lot of teams are starting to practice Artemis and develop strategies around it, develop counter-strategies to the Artemis, as we've seen. Fails, thank you so much for the host, my friend. Hope you had a good stream. Yeah, Artemis is going to be moving up to the S- tier. Expect to see her a lot at Masters. Expect to see her banned a lot at Masters. Possibly towards the end of it, you're going to see her less or more, depending on how Masters has gone. Really depends, because Artemis right now is a focal point in the meta. Has your team got a good strategy in dealing with Artemis? Sure, you're going to let her through, you're going to let the enemy team pick her, and then employ your counter strategy to deal with the Artemis. If not, you might see her banned a bit more. Vamana, Ratatoskr, and Sun Wukong. All three of them are going to be moving up to A+. A lot in A+ right now, but all three of them have been picked up a fair bit more. Vamana has been picked up in the jungle again, this time by Captain Twig. It's no longer just a North American thing. It's starting to creep over back up to Europe, and it's started to perform a bit well. Even though it did lose in Europe on Twig, I still feel like it did work. I still feel like Vamana did what job it wanted to do. Sun Wukong, again, similar situation for Vamana, has been picked up a fair bit more recently. It's starting to be preferred in the solo lane over some other warriors, and it's starting to see some good success when played in that solo lane. All because of slight tweaks to his clear. Obviously, thank you so much for the follow. And Ratatoskr, again, similar situation to Sun Wukong and Vamana, starting to be picked up a bit more, so justifies to move up to A+, has some good success when being played, and is starting to be preferred over some other assassins. So, all three of them moving up to the A+ tier. A-, no changes to that tier, but we do have 2 changes in B tier. And it doesn't take a genius to see which ones, because it's the only 2 characters in B tier which have been played in the SPL recently. Well, 3 did. One of them didn't really do that well. It was used more as a gimmick strategy by Obey, and that was Neith. They had Neith and Morrigan, both of which use Neith ults. Didn't really work out too well. But it's Aphrodite and Chiron, both of which are going to be moving up to A-. Chiron moving up to A- because of the double hunter meta in North America, can be played in both mid and in ADC, and in a double hunter meta where you're focused around CCing down a target and killing them as quickly as possible and making sure your hunters are safe, Chiron is a good pick for that, because he can cleanse out the CC, provide some healing, and provide some long distance kills with his ultimate. So, and could also peel for himself with his long range dash, and survive a bit longer because of his Centaurus ultimate. Maybe even to revive himself if he gets a kill with it, who knows. Depends on how fortunate he is when he pops that ultimate. Speaking of popping that ultimate and being fortunate, Aphrodite has seen some play in the SPL. Thanks a lot, Zalia. Really appreciate you bringing Aphrodite back into the meta. Slightly. Don't play healers. But he proved that Aphrodite can be picked into pretty much any single composition, provided your team drafts around it correctly. And that's the definition in my mind of an A- character. It can be picked into any composition, provided you draft accordingly. They did just that. Aphrodite moves to A-. So, Lonely Old Alposh still stays in C tier, unfortunately. He needs some real help. We were talking about just before the tier list update started on stream. So that's going to do it for the tier list update. Thank you guys so much for watching again. Make sure to comment down below if you would like me to go over certain gods more in depth, and I will look to do a video on that after the 5.9 tier list, I think. So, again, thank you guys so much for watching, and, well, see you in the next update. Bye!